hurt me.
Hurt me! Hurt me! Hurt me! I'm sick of this game, I'm bearing the shame. Motherfucking hurt me!
Welcome to June Talks Back. This is a podcast where we basically talk about life, the universe, and, being a band, and stuff, and junk. So, we were talking about... We were talking about, radio shows and being a cool interview, right? Because we're at that point where we're generating a bit of buzz and people want to talk to us and they want to find out, what is the deal? What's the deal with June Talks Back? Yeah, I almost said June Talks Back. Okay. And we've been watching a lot of interviews and radio shows and things like that to kind of see, what people are looking for. We were recently featured in the Black Rhino radio podcast, radio show Vertigo Cultura with Jefe, which was awesome. Then we were thinking, okay, what can we do better? Because that's one of our things, right? We always try to look at what we can do better. And I was talking with Cezar about one thing I've noticed is that when you answer a question, you should actually not really answer the question.
What do you mean?
So, if the interviewer asks you a question and you just answer it plainly, it doesn't create an opportunity to create a dialogue and for them to sort of ask follow-up questions and make the interview more interesting,
okay,
right? By going deeper into a topic. But if you answer in such a way where you kind of create a question in their minds, that creates a sort of a back and forth and things like that. So, for example,
okay,
I was talking to Rage about what if somebody asks her, what her influence is as a singer, right? She says Tina Turner. See?
Yeah.
See? You can see it in your mind already.
But why?
Exactly. That but why question. Like, if you can answer a question with an answer, but one that creates that but why question in their heads.
Yeah, but here, see, now you're raising a question for me. So basically, if your answer is A, but you're gonna answer B because B is more like a clickbait for the mind, isn't that like not being honest?
No, because you are answering honestly, but you're answering the answer it's, if you really think about it, it's kind of a two-parter, right? The question, like the answer that you give is supposed to be honest, it's supposed to be real, but it's also supposed to pose a question. So like the example we were talking about, Tina Turner, right? Rach grew up with Tina Turner. She was a big role model for what it means to be a singer. And not only that, but to be a female singer,
Kind of makes sense now?
Yeah. Like how to be awesome on stage, how to sing, how to, even being kind of really badass, because we know Tina Turner's story.
Tina Turner is a badass.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of shaped who she is, which means that it shaped who she, what she sounds like and why she sounds like that, And Tina Turner was doing some screams, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
So yeah, I was thinking about that. Makes more sense now?
Yeah, I mean, listening to your interview done on Black Rhino Radio was like, I was expecting that answer because it was kind of obvious and it didn't, it wasn't, I don't know, it didn't make me think why. So now it makes sense to have an answer like this prepared, But again, being truthful about it.
Yeah.
Not going for like the lowest hanging fruit and saying, oh sure, I'm into architects. Well, duh, you sing metalcore and...
Yeah, if you play metalcore, you'll be into architects, generally speaking, yeah.
Everybody is expecting that, and no one's gonna ask a question. But if you say, "Yeah, sure, one of my influences or my influence or something is, as you said, Tina Turner," it's like, hold up.
hold up. Yeah. Okay. Let's take another question. So, like, how did you guys meet? Right? That's a classic question of how did the band get started. Did you notice how even when our friends ask us, did you notice what I always say?
You say yours, I'm gonna say mine, and go on.
I always say, well, Rach and I have always have had a previous band, and we've been working together for 10 years and stuff like that. We had a lot of different people come through the band, but then we met Cezar because he hit his head.
Yeah, actually I was gonna go for that.
And there it is!
Because when people ask me how did you end up in this band or how did you guys meet or something like that, I always bury the lead and go like, well, actually I hit my head. It's like, what?
Or it's true.
Or I came in just for a drink with you guys. And
it's true.
And it's true because... And then I follow up with an explanation because people ask me, what do you mean you hit your head? It's like, what, you woke up in a band? Well, not directly, but it was like a series of very fortunate events that led to the band, which started with me hitting my head.
Yeah, and then there's David, right? And the way I'd answer for David would be, well, we threw him out of the band. Yeah, that's how we got him in the band.
Of course I know him. I'm the one who fired him.
Exactly, See, like that is an invitation to, like, it's an invitation for a conversation, right? When you pose it like that.
Makes perfect sense.
You can even extrapolate that to our songs, like Hurt Me, right? They say blood is thicker than water. Who starts a conversation like that?
Go on.
Okay. So it's always important to kind of be on the ball and always, try to be interesting because, you think, you might think when you go in for an interview that the interviewer is there to make you look good, but actually, if you don't give them anything to work with, if you're not interesting, they won't find anything interesting in you, and like the interview won't go well, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And also the thing is that, for having been doing things for a while, right? Because you've been in a band for, like, I don't know, let's say this band, a couple of years, and like the things that happened, you've already processed them and distilled them into the current iteration of the band and things, and you don't go for the intermediary steps, right?
Yeah.
And maybe one of those steps is more interesting in a conversation than just saying, well, I'm in a band.
Yeah.
Well, how did you get it? Well, we started it and now we're in a band.
We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, makes perfect sense, and I totally agree with you, and that's a cool fact.
Well, there's also the idea, even with like the intermediary steps, because what I tend to see, and what I do as well, like sometimes, you get a question that covers maybe a longer span of time, like the question of how did you guys meet, how did this all start? That's not necessarily something that kind of happened overnight. So sometimes you can get lost in the details, like somebody who can't tell a good story, right? Or where they have a lot of details and a lot of steps. You also need to be mindful of the time. So you need to answer in an interesting, short, honest way. So there's 3 parts to this already. And that needs to happen like quick fire, right?
Yeah, and also you can really prepare the answers from home, like you don't know. I mean, there at an interview probably gonna be asked like generic, basic, common questions. Where'd you guys meet? How'd you start? What's your influence? And so on and so forth. But
what's your sign? At some point you might find a question you weren't prepared for, and you can't prepare for anything. Yeah, and it's more about setting a mindset rather than actually preparing for doing your homework, right? You're not doing the homework that you're actually doing is just researching, kind of seeing what the interviewer is like, what other interviews they've done, what other bands they've had, and just taking an interest in them, in taking an interest in the interviewer, and then just setting your mindset.
You'd be like, you've done your research and you're taking an interest in the interviewer, and then you ask him, and how are your kids? The ones that live on Maple Street Drive 123. And like, okay, not that kind.
Oh jeez. Yeah, or you flip it, you're like, how did your band start? Well, how did you start this show?
Yeah.
I kind of, sorry, as an aside, sorry, I got distracted, but like, I kind of love it when it's kind of cold out and there's steam coming out of the vents in the ground and stuff. It's probably not good. It's not probably a good sign, but it reminds me of New York, like you see in the movies.
We have New York at home.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, just saying, it's true not to be creepy.